Mhm. Okay, so let's start. So happy to see you all here. So today we have again our Scale Up webinars. So let me tell you a bit about it. So our Scale Up webinars are initiated by Bana, and these webinars aim to educate Armenian tech ecosystem startups by providing practical knowledge from the local and global experts. The content of these webinars is mainly focused on startup-related topics and critical questions. So if you have any suggestions or have some critical questions, just write me some suggestions about topics and we will consider them. So today we have a very great guest, Zara Mirzoyan. So Zarajan, I would like you to introduce yourself and then we can start.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Anna-Jan. I will share the slide because I have an intro slide there. So I
Great.
will talk about myself.
Great.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to see you all today. And thank you to Bana and the Scale Up Initiation for this opportunity to share some tips with you. I'm Zara. I am a technical talent acquisition specialist for already 5 years. I have cooperated with diverse local and international companies. Now I am more in a holding than in a startup, but I have a lot of experience cooperating with diverse startups all over the world when I worked with two European talent agencies. As well, I'm a trainer. I have a course of recruitment and IT technical recruitment cooperating with Magnus HR. Today we are going to speak about top startup hiring mistakes and try to find out how we can stop repeating them or avoiding them. Just to mention that recruiting new staff members is a very complex process that requires much time and effort, especially when you're in a very competitive market. I'm sure who is in IT and is hiring can imagine what I'm talking about. And besides, you can't afford to hire the wrong candidates for the job. It would mean starting all over again in just a short span and losing a lot of money in the process. So let's go to the main part of our webinar and go through the mistakes I have observed during my experience, and let's also discuss some tips that I hope will help you to improve some processes in your hiring. Sorry. The first mistake that I usually observe in startups is lacking a structured hiring process. Many startups hire in a rush without even measuring what they need, who they need, if they need something or not. They lack describing precisely the actual job, the requirements. Many startups do not advertise the job at all, just being sure, just not letting anyone know they are hiring and overall having the big picture where the recruitment starts and where it ends. To recruit strategically, an efficient recruitment process also needs some structure. Finding the right employee doesn't happen immediately. Even the holdings are in a very hard situation of hiring people right now. However, many startups prioritize speed over quality under the pressure to fill their roles ASAP, like we need them yesterday, let's bring someone to work, which might lead to skipping important steps in the hiring process, thus leading to poor candidate experience or your employer brand. Sometimes hiring managers or overall the startup managers are so desperate that they hire anyone that applies or is interested without making sure that the person actually fits the role and the organization. Having a hiring that lacks structure and process only leads to hiring ill-fitted candidates, destroying your candidate experience, which of course will reduce productivity and often results in an increased turnover rate. First of all, when you start in a startup world and need to hire, and to stay more efficient in a recruitment, you need to start from defining your hiring needs. Let's say who we need, if we need someone, how many people we actually need. The second step is to create a job description announcement. Usually the startups like doing this or just copy paste from somewhere, because usually maybe the startups cannot afford having a professional recruiter or a consultant, and they just trying to do their best to announce the position. But make sure that you have a very precisely defined job description that talks about your company, about your environment. For me, I'm making a performance profile. I'm following the methodology of Lou Adler. He is one of the best professionals I actually follow and use in my work. It's a performance profile that helps you not to talk about your job and requirements and responsibilities, but also helps you to show your company, show your job. Let's say when you speak about your position, talk about your company, about the team, about the job, and do not just copy paste the requirements. Talk about the exact requirements and responsibilities you want the person to come and accomplish, making it more performance based. And this will also help you to describe your startup environment, actual work skills you need the person to have to accomplish the requirements. Of course, we all know that it's really very hard to hire by only giving a job description. This is somehow more for visibility and for knowing people that you exist and you hire. Of course, you are to perform a targeted research using some platforms that your targeted candidates are. LinkedIn, maybe Facebook groups, GitHub, Stack Overflow, anything you can you think that your candidate can be there. Of course, research the market. We are in a very competitive world. We have the startups have competitors that have more resources and more experience. You are to research your market to understand what companies act there and how can you stay competitive among them. Many startups undervalue the importance of referral program. Referral program is something that you implement in your company by giving a bonus to employees to refer a good candidate that you hire. Never save any resources to this, because believe me, referral program is far more effective than anything in hiring. Like you can encourage your employees by giving them bonuses and get great referrals from them. I can say that more than 50% of the hires come from the referrals from the team. Because they are in the same community, they talk to each other, they share experience, they know their needs and interests, and are the best to find a good fit for you. In your company, you are to define the decision-making process, who is responsible for what, who is evaluating what, who takes this or that responsibility. And of course, have the process of extending the offer, how you extend the offer, how you talk to the candidate, how you market your offer, and so on. The second mistake also concerns the process, and it's the part of a hiring process, but I actually wanted to emphasize it because many candidates just got very annoyed when these startups or any company, doesn't matter if it's a startup or just a general company, does not have a structured and professional interview process. Because candidate experience is the key to staying in a market and hiring for a long time. First of all, startups usually think that they can hire like relying on a gut feeling. Of course, intuition is very important, but is relied on too often. When hiring, it is just plain unprofessional. Don't make the common mistake in thinking that chemistry between interviewer and interviewee can result in a great hire. It doesn't work. You are to hire based on the data, based on the information you get from the interview. Not make it, the second part is not making for the candidate clear what you expect, what they are to expect during the interview. It speaks about your interview stages. When the candidate came to meet you as a business owner or came to meet you, your manager who you hired before to lead the process, they usually want to know what to expect. Let's say how many times they are to come to the office, what stages they are to pass, what they are to invest in order to get an offer in your company. And of course, people are annoyed when you keep it very long. Let's say it's already the 10th stage that you are keeping the candidate coming to your office and continuing interviewing them and not giving them an offer or rejection. And not following up the candidates. This is also very bad mistakes that ruin your candidate experience. You are to define in interview stages for each position you have. Startups usually do not have many positions. Let's say usually they hire for 5 to 6 profiles, and it will not be so difficult compared to holdings that have more than 40 profiles to hire. Just define interview stages so you can talk to your interviewers and give them precise information what the interview looks like in your company. I wrote down just a basic interview stages that you can use in your company, adding or removing some part. Usually the first interview should be with, if you do not have a recruiter, hiring manager, or yourself as a startup manager. This part also helps you to like sell your company and your startup because you are new in the market and you need to bring people by giving them some vision. Then comes the technical part of the assessment. You call them for the technical or professional interview. Let's say for developers, a technical interview, for project or product managers, a professional interview. And then comes the technical assignment, like you give them a coding challenge or you give them some case study to complete. And then comes the offer, when you negotiate the offer with the candidate. Of course, make sure to define the evaluation criteria due to what you actually need. It's said to know what you are evaluating. If you do not know what you are going to evaluate, you cannot gather enough data to be able to take the candidate to the selection stage. Have the interview guide if you are going to involve some team members in your interview process. Let's say give them some scorecard by mentioning them 6 to 7 scopes to or fields to evaluate, how to go with the interview. Let's say, please do the opening, talk to the company, give the questions, then close the interview. That's such a very basic structure for your interviewers not to lose themselves during the interview, and be prepared because they are the first faces when they meet your candidate. They not introduce themselves, that introduce your company, your startup. And never leave a candidate without after interview feedback. Of course, never ever forget that the bad candidate experience can can harm your employer brand, and you are to keep very attentive to these details. When a candidate comes to meet you, they didn't pass the interview, do not forget about them, give a feedback and try to talk them, because actually if you consider them once, they are from your talent pool, target audience, and sometimes later maybe you will review their profile. Going to this third mistake, that is not investing enough resources in your employer brand and in online world. Of course, we all live in online world. We can just see ourselves scrolling and looking for jobs and looking for some content in internet, especially when in this COVID era, we all move to online world, and it's the lost opportunity if you do not invest enough resources in your social recruiting and employer branding. When you do not have visibility, people can talk about yourself and you are not interacting it. And others who take care of their visibility in the online world, they of course get the competitive advantage. So here are the tips: the visibility, the not having the social media policy, having poor social media posts or contents. Like imagine that you're getting an offer from a company and you go to their Facebook page or startup and see some content that you even cannot understand what the company is about, or they have some post that is done 2 years ago and does have nothing to do with the company itself. And of course, when it comes to employer branding, not caring of your employees will ruin your brand in a market. Invest in your website, invest in your career pages. In Armenia, we, if you're from Armenia, we have some platforms that are more used here. This is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, that you can open your pages and be active there. As for people who are not from Armenia, you are to do some research and understand where is your target audience. Like if it's in some other platform, just open a profile there. Of course, have a website that introduces you. When people get a contact letter from you or hears about you from their network, of course, they go to your website to check what you're doing actually. And if you do not have something that introduces you, that talks about you, your success stories, or if you just started your vision and what you want to accomplish, they of course will not get interested about you. And make sure that you have a career page in your website and you make it easy for people to go there, see your announcements and apply. Embrace storytelling. Talk about your motivation, talk about your ideas, talk about how great you are in this market. What are you doing for people to change people's lives? Talk about what your startup is about. And of course, create a culture where your employees are very happy, are satisfied, and want to stay, because this will help you to promote your employer brand and make your employees as brand ambassadors. And this will bring more retention and referrals to your company. And of course, do not forget to treat your candidates with integrity, and do not forget about word of mouth, because it's said about the customers, but we can relate it to talent acquisition as well, hiring as well. It says that one satisfied customer brings 5 and one dissatisfied takes 12. So remember that if you take care of your good brand in your market and people talk good things about you, this will help you to hire faster and of course efficiently. I have noticed that when startups come to the market, and when they have like a lot of funding, somehow they are becoming superior and arrogant, and they think that, okay, we're the best, and like we can hire whoever we want. We're doing great things. If you do not come, do not come. Like I have seen this superiority and arrogance in some startups. Being superior or arrogant will hurt you. Yes, you get to make the decision on whether someone will be asked to join or not, but there's no reason to have them embraced or insulted by the process, or like be superior and show that you are the best. Treat everyone with dignity and respect and give them helpful feedback. You want everyone to leave with feeling good and wishing they get the chance to come back sometimes later. Just keep the relationship. I can say as a person who started with no network to a person who grew a lot of network, that the hiring is all about relationship, but network. I had a friend recruiter once during a webinar. He said that if you have some experience as a recruiter and your network doesn't help you to hire 50% of your vacant positions, you failed your life. So make sure the talking to candidates, talking to your network, and being honest and keeping the dignity with people is the priority in your hiring. Going to irrational hiring, this may also concern to the startups. They maybe have this funding or have no like prioritization. Startups must not give into the thoughtless hiring because they have the capital at hand. When deciding on the professionals needed in the team, some founders don't consider the qualities that they need for the team. Like, we want to hire this candidate, we want to hire this candidate. Like the startups came with 20 openings and say we need all of them. But this is not the case. You are to set timelines. Like if you're going to hire 6 people this year, you are to split these following your product development. Like having a timeline and setting a deadline will give you real results, and defining your hiring needs at least 4 or 6 months prior. And of course, prioritizing your position. Let's say if you are going to add this and this functionality to your product, or engage, or you're a service company and you want to engage some more projects, be sure you are hiring not irrationally. Let's say if you're going to add a product part and you need for these 2 months, let's say product manager and a developer, take them, and then when this initial part is ready, go to hiring a QA and hiring a maybe project manager or designer. You can think like this. Imagine that for now you are to work on 6 positions. This is very hard in this competitive market, or you can split this 6 position to some timeline and start to working on this and hire the best people from the market. Do not hire too fast to avoid hiring wrong people, because sometimes when you really need to hire someone, you think that of course, okay, we get some CV, let's take them. Maybe we will figure out later. But this is not the case, because you will end up hiring wrong people who will distract your culture in the company, or will lead you to poor efficiency or production. But do not overthink about extending an offer. Here I just remembered a case from working with a startup. I was hiring for one startup, and the candidate passed the recruitment screen, then passed the technical interview, then the technical assessment, and then the product team wants to see him, then the project team wants to see him, then the program team, then the development team. Everyone wants to meet him before making an offer. The candidate called me and say, Zara John, I have told everything about myself. I do not want to add anything. I have no other information about myself. Just decide, do you want to give me an offer or just reject me, because I really do not have time to come and meet everyone in your company. So make sure that you're not overthinking, you're not taking too much time from your candidate, because you can lose them in this competitive offer where good candidates have more than 3 offers from diverse companies. Sometimes when you start your company, you want to hire a person who can do coding, testing, management, even write content, do everything for you. While it's nice to have someone who can wear multiple hats, and you end up with someone who is average at a lot of things, but not amazing in anything. And make sure that you do not set too much expectations for one role. Let's say you do not want a coder, backend, front-end, a person who can review his code, a person who can work with product team, like do a project management, follow the backlog, do anything in the company, and expect one person to do so without any support from the team. Invest your resources and the talents successful in their specific area. Because if you want your startup to grow and you want to get not something average, but something that can really work and disrupt your area, bring specific people, bring successful people to your company. Be reasonable in your requirements, and consider the candidate supply of your market. I want to speak about another case I had connected with these unreasonable requirements and not considering what market you are working with. I was hiring again for one startup, and they had requirements for a developer, like more than 10 specific, very specific technologies that are very rare in the market. So I tried 2 months to negotiate with them to explain that, our market didn't supply such a professional. We can give them an opportunity to have 2 to 3 skills and have them in a great quality, and come do research with us and learn and grow with us. So after the 2 months that we are not able to find anyone, and we were in a desperate situation, the management gave up. But of course, we could have hired them 2 months ago, and it just took me 1 week to find a person who has 2 to 3 qualities that we require in a great level. And we gave the candidate a chance to do a research and learn the specific rare skills that we needed for that particular product. And it also continuing the thought here, that is not to hire, the mistake is to hire for experience over potential. It is when startups try to get someone who is super experienced in everything they really need. Like if you have a candidate who knows who has experience in 5 requirements you published and do not have experience in 3, or you're looking for someone who has both development and management experience, and you find someone who has development experience and not a managerial experience, you said, no, we're not going to take them because they not have an experience. Always consider the potential. You can reveal this during your interviews. Make sure you input as an evaluation criteria the potential to grow and become the one candidate, the star candidate you're looking for. Take into your scorecard, take into your evaluation criteria the motivation, and of course the capability of learning and to learn and grow. This is very important because when you look only to the experience, you bring people who maybe not are very motivated to learn with you, to do new things with you, to change somehow their stack or do something else that they are usually used to do. Always look for motivation and the potential of the candidate you are talking to. Does not keep fixed in only the experience and only the skills, because people who have motivation, they will deliver more better than anyone with the skills without motivation. This is a very common mistake, I suppose, because when startups enter the market, they usually maybe do not have many things to offer to the candidates, or they have some problems in their processes, in their resources, in management overall, or even are very vague about their future. And they are trying to hide details at the interview. Let's say they are not talking about the role, about the responsibilities, or not being honest with working hours or workload. That, let's say you are a startup who are to work with the companies from the diverse time zones, and you are not sharing that, you know, we have a sofa here that you're going to sleep sleep in it because you're going to stay here and work till 12. You are to be very transparent, talking about disadvantages. Be transparent with the candidates, give them complete info about your advantages, about your disadvantages, about the workload, about what to expect from the work, because if you do not do this, they will of course come into your company and will see the problems. Be sure that the good candidates have no problem finding new job. They will find another job in just 2 weeks. Make sure you stay transparent. Make sure you are not over promising them, or you are not saying that, oh, we're great, we'll make a great environment for you. Try to share your values, try to share your vision, try to share motivation of starting this startup, and just engage them in your startup, in your ideas to come and do the work with you. Of course, this part is a bit vague because the culture cannot be defined when you just started your company, because it comes over time. But make sure, but of course, I'm sorry. Of course, you have your initial and basic values as an individual, and I'm sure that when you start a company, you want to put your values in a company as well. The problem maybe if you do not have defined basic culture and basic values, even if they are not written in your website and written in a PDF slide, you can just know verbally your values, some 2 to 3 values that you want people that follow the values and share these values for you. With you. And just remember that hiring wrong people with no cultural fit, especially if you're hiring a manager or a lead role that is going to work with your team, will definitely hire your team, and it will decrease the morale, lower productivity, and people will leave you because it will put stress on them. Have your company culture, your values, your mission. If you have a vision, showcase it, talk about it, because people gather and come for the idea, of course, and for the product and for change you are doing. Try to define your ideal candidate. Let's say what you want, what 2 to 3 values you want the candidate to have. It is ownership, because you want someone not to come to the company and sit and wait until the manager will come and tell him to do, but someone who will own his role and will come up with suggestions and will follow up and will think that this part of the job is just his business and he is to do this. And stay stick to your culture. This will help you to support employee engagement, and you will not face the retention problem. This will, of course, help you to embrace a positive brand and work environment for the market. That's all. I have written here just a short quote from Blue Adler. I will advise you to read his book, Hire with Your Head, if you do not have resources to hire a recruitment team and you want to do something by yourself. It's a step-to-step guide how to implement diverse interviewing parts and processes in your company. And if you have resource, you can afford hiring a recruitment team or outsourcing it. You find some company that can come to your company, consult you what processes to implement and how to find the best talent if you do not have much time to do so by yourself. That's all.
Okay. Thank you a lot, Zara Jan. Thank you for the great presentation and thank you for the quotes. I really liked it. Zara Jan, we have a couple of questions, but before going to already received questions, I would like to ask all who are with us to leave their questions if they have. Leave your questions in the comments, and in the end, we will come to the questions. Now let me start with the questions. We got some interesting ones. So the first one is the following. It says like how to make the process of hiring interns productive for the startup and less time consuming.
Okay. I will talk connected with this question. I can only comment connected with the Armenian market, because when we go to not the local market, I usually hire seniors and leads there, and definitely have not much experience in hiring interns in diverse countries. But I think that these tips will also help to understand like a basic approach to work with the interns or to hire interns. Of course, we hire interns from universities and from boot camps. These are the two sources that usually the unexperienced people come. Try to talk to the universities in your country. I will bring an example for you to see how I work with diverse universities to get referrals from them. For example, in my current company, we're hiring business analytics, and we definitely need them to speak French, because we're working with French-speaking countries. And we can train the candidates to get the business analytics skills. But it's very hard in Armenia to for candidates to learn French in short period of time. Let's say it will take a year for them to learn French. It will take 2 months of them to learn business analytics. I contacted the French University in Armenia, and we invited the rector to our office. And try to find some cooperation opportunity, let's say to implement a training course there, or just get a CVs or profiles from there. We talked to our career center and asked them to share our job description among their students, especially but the business students, to get CVs and to evaluate them. You can talk to your target universities. Let's say we have State University informatics faculty and or business faculty for product managers. We have American University of Armenia. They have a career center. They are very great people. I also always enjoy working with them because they are very responsive. You can send your job descriptions or requirements to them, and they are sending all stuff, all mail to all students and alumni even, and you can get very good CVs. As coming to the time consuming, try to set a process that will help you to sort the candidates and not to meet everyone doing 100 interviews. Prepare tests for them. Send the test and have your threshold of the test. Who is passing the threshold? You're calling them for interview. This will help you to save time and get people who are very motivated because they're looking for work when you go to the universities, as well as the boot camps, because in Armenia we have a very good culture of boot camps. We have good boot camps here, ACA, I don't know, Armenian Indian Center, and some others. My company is opening its excellence center, and there are a lot of investment in this part. You can talk to the founders or the responsibles of these boot camps and get good CVs, of course, sending them tests, doing a sort out, and calling them for interview. I think this will help you to get the job done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you a lot. And the next question is also very, very interesting. So it's the following. How shares should be allocated among startup founders and employees?
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for the question. Just want to say that this is more of a finance question. I cannot precisely say how much you are to keep for yourself, how much you are to allocate to your employees. This is purely the market research and stock market research issue and your specific field research issue. But I can say that, of course, you can implement stock options in your benefit package. Because you're a startup, you need to show off, you need to have the best benefit package and offer something that the holdings and companies that having a great resources cannot offer. Of course, put the stock options in your benefit package to attract people, but how they are to be allocated, it will be better to talk with a finance specialist who can consult you how it's done.
Yeah, great. Okay, so the next question. So it says many growing startups have problems hiring talents because many specialists don't want to take a risk and enter a startup. What can they do to attract talent?
Oh, you're not alone in a hardship of getting talents, because I can tell you that even the holdings are in a desperate situation of hiring the candidates they really want. But of course, startups are in more sensitive situation that some companies, they have more resources or are more or less known to the market. Emphasize your product or service. Talk about your product or about your service. Talk what you want to offer to the market, what you want to accomplish. Try to sell your company as the best one in a market, best place to work. Talk about your benefits. Talk about these interesting things that you have as a company. It's great to work with a small team because we offer flexible hours. We're doing something great, and describe this great thing. Be active in your social media, but try to talk to your network. for startups, this is the best thing, because any hiring from the first stage is good when you try to build network in this market. Let's say in IT market, by visiting some events. It's very bad that we have COVID and we cannot visit much places, but make sure you find network, you gather network, you talk to your network, ask for referrals, and try to talk to people. Let's say go to diverse meetings, try to get friends, try to convince them that you have a great idea and they are to join you, and show the vision where you are going. And be patient, realize all good things take time. I will repeat that even the companies with very good resources now have hardship for hiring.
Okay. So the next question is the following. This person says, when startup founders are tech guys, sometimes it is difficult to hire talents. What are some things they can do?
Yeah, of course, it can be an issue, because when people start something, they are not recruiters and not managers. They have idea, they take some garage and they start building their product, and they have great ideas and they try to do something to bring it live. Here I can advise either to give some time to understand the mistakes we have talked about, to implement a process. But if you do not have this time, I will advise two things. One is to talk to a recruitment agency who will consult you in recruitment. Let's say the company I'm working with, Magnus HR, they are a recruitment consultant company. They come to your office, they do audit to understand what you need, what should be improved. They implement the process. They give you a complete hiring process and eliminate your mistakes and leave. And you even can outsource your targeted search and recruitment to them. And the next one that usually happens to me, I'm really very busy. Sometimes I'm not able to face all the questions, but people find people who know me or some other recruiter or a consulting agency, I don't know, and ask for like 1 hour meeting to give their questions and understand what they can do. Like talk to your network if you do not have resources to outsource your recruitment to a consulting company. Like write down several questions you have hardship with, find someone, ask for just 1 hour and try to talk to them to understand what is the problem. I'm sure that in our network, we have people who are always ready to help us. We have friends who are ready to help us. Just not a recruiter. You can find another startup manager or a person who is somehow related to hiring. Let's say you have a technical lead or engineering manager or team lead in another company. They, of course, are in hiring. You can talk to them to understand your problems and get some advice from the people who have this experience already.
Okay, thank you. Zarajan, we also have one question in the comments so far. Before going to the question, I would like to ask also, this is your last chance to ask your questions. So hurry up if you have questions. So Zarajan, Mane asks question. Question is the following. So she says, which is more correct, to include seniors and team leads from the very beginning of the startup, or can we go far with juniors?
It depends who is starting the startup. If you are a biologist and you have a great technology idea that is about biology, of course, you are to find someone who can lead the process. Like you cannot hire a junior who can come and start writing the architecture of the product, or consulting you what technologies to use, like this. But if you are a technology guy yourself, like you can do these basic things connected with the product development or providing a service as a startup, whatever you are doing. Of course, you can try to get people and teach them. I was cooperating with a startup. They were a service company, and they started the company with 3 developers. And they had a hardship of finding anyone in the market because no one knows about them. But they work with great projects abroad. What I offered them to do is to devote the time of one senior to organizing an internship for newcomers. It just took them, as I remember, 2 months to get students and work with them. And after 2 months, they have 4 people for juniors to work with the team, and of course they already can show up as a team, and the hiring became more easier. It depends in what situation are you as a startup. If you do not have someone to lead the development process or the product development process, of course you are to hire someone to lead you through the process. If you already have these guys, of course go to hire juniors, because this will save you time. Hiring leads or seniors for a very small startup is very hard. Hiring seniors for a holding is of course is also hard. That's why I'm saying you will lose a lot of time trying to find your exact guy. It depends, but you are to decide taking into consideration your resources.
Okay, thank you. So Manajan, I hope the question is answered. If not, you can leave your questions again. Let me check, Zarajan, if we have questions so far. If we have more questions, so give me seconds to look at the questions. Okay, so I guess we don't have questions anymore. Okay, so I think that we can sum up kind of and finish. So thank you, Zarajan, a lot for this great talk. I think that this was really important for everyone because you touched a lot of important topics, a lot of mistakes. And I think, can we share the presentation with people if they want?
Sure. I will be happy to share the file with anyone who'd like to have some guide to follow. And of course, if you may have any questions, you can find me in LinkedIn. I will be happy to know you. Of course, I'm a recruiter. I'm gathering network. I will be really happy to talk to you and try to share my experience if you are in a hard situation in your hiring.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much once again. Okay, so just to sum up and to remind all, so on 5th of May, we are going to have, again, very interesting topic on copywriting. So join us if you're interested about copywriting, and especially for startups. So that's it for today. I was happy to be here with you, Zarajan. And if you have any suggestions on topics that you would like to talk about, just write me. I will be happy to discuss it with you and to organize some interesting webinar. So I guess that's it. Have a nice evening, all. Thank you all once again.
Thank you to Annajan, and thank you to Bana for this great opportunity.